The last week has brought us a lot of information in regard to the division and what we can expect with Season 11, which is right around the corner. Now, at this point, we do not have a date on when it's going to launch, but my guess would be within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Now, a lot of you have reached out asking questions about the raid-exclusive exotics, about the Dark Zone, about PC crashes, new weapons and gear, how the Season 11 reward track is going to work. So like I do every Monday, my friends, today I'm going to take some time, go over the details we know, and more importantly, answer some of the questions you've sent the channel. What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and the number one topic by far over the last week is the fact that when Season 11 drops, we are going to be seeing raid-exclusive exotics in the Dark Zone. Now, in case you missed last week's news, the game has officially announced that you will be able to get the Eagle Bearer, the Ravenous, and the Bighorn, which happens to be a legendary exotic. But moving forward, you will now be able to farm for all 3 items in the Dark Zone. They can drop as contaminated loot. You need to pick it up and then extract with the item itself. That is an entirely different story. Now, the first thing I want to go over is how the community is feeling about this news, and it's really split down the middle, and I see both sides of it. And this is something I've said at the channel, is while I am very happy that they are introducing these raid-exclusive exotics into the general loot pool, even though it's just in the Dark Zone at this point, I've also said in the past that if they pull the raid-exclusive exotics from the raids, they need to replace them with something else. Now, obviously, at this point, I don't think there's any plan on doing that. But in my opinion, if you take the one thing out that people want to attain from running a raid, there's going to be no incentive to jump into the raids themselves. Now, keep in mind as I say that, there will always be a higher percentage of these exotics dropping from the raids than from the Dark Zone. I think in the raid, they're upping it from 10 to 15%, and in the Dark Zone, it's going to be a 5%. And remember, in the DZ, and trust me when I say this, friends, when you initially go farming in the DZ with Season 11, you are going to be hunted like crazy. So if you're like me, you're barely in the Dark Zone at all. It's going to be quite the culture shock and adjustment because PvP, as most of you know, is much different than PvE. It's going to take a minute to get used to it. I think it's going to be the Wild West initially, but as time goes on, I think it will get better and better for new players jumping into that mode. And as we move on from this topic, my friends, do me a favor, let me know what you think of this in the comments section down below. Again, my biggest fear is that they kill a game mode. You know, it happened with Kenley College. And I really don't want to see it happen with the raids because there are communities who really focus on doing these raids, helping other people get these exotics. I mean, I've talked about this before at the channel. I know GC Rock, at his channel with his Discord, they do raid runs all the time. I send people there all the time. They message me back saying, oh my gosh, I was able to get the Eagle Bearer, the Ravenous, the Regulus, all of these things from joining these groups. And not only that, they have so much fun once they're in a dedicated group on mic. That's what raids are for. So again, I know it does give the opportunity for players who usually like to play on their own. And that to me is a really good thing as well. So again, let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Next, I'd like to talk about the new exotics being introduced into Season 11, but we're going to focus on one specifically, and that is the NinjaBike messenger bag. Now, for those of you that may not know, that is one of the best exotics from the first division, and I will leave a link to a video I put up the other day describing what it does. It's absolutely amazing. Now, the question I'm getting at the channel is, where's that actually going to be in the reward track for Season 11? A lot of people are worried that it's not going to be in the reward track from 1 to 100. It's actually going to be locked behind the main manhunt target, which as we all know is exactly what they did with the last exotic, Dr. Holmes. So it was a few months before, 2 to 3 months I think it was, before we could actually get our hands on the thing. Now at this point, we haven't been given that information on where it's going to fall as far as a reward, but as always, as soon as I get that information, I will definitely pass it along. Which actually now brings us to the topic of talking about meta builds and what this messenger bag is going to mean for the game. Now, I don't know how you feel about the term meta build. Everyone is going to have a different opinion when they hear that. But for me, when I hear the term meta build, in my mind, and this is because I'm a PvE player, and we'll get into how that affects my thought process in a moment, but when I hear the term meta build, I just think of a build that everyone is going to be using non-stop. We can go back to when they introduced the Heartbreaker gear set. That was the #1 build by far. Then they made an adjustment to it, and a lot lot of people stop using it, but the fact is that is an insanely strong gear set to use with certain builds. Now for me, and this goes back to I think Season 4, but my personal meta has always been 4-piece Hunter's Fury, 1 Badger Tough, Memento Backpack, Scorpio Shotgun, Vector in the other hand, just shredding enemies left and right. So always remember in this game, when there are meta builds in the game, it's going to completely affect you differently depending on what you're doing. As a solo player, you're really not going to see any difference. However, when you're in a group, you may see a lot of people using that same build, and it may make getting your own NPCs to take out a little more difficult. And I mean, a perfect example of that is I remember when the Heartbreaker gear set came out with Countdown, the one thing I noticed is I would enter, a room and everyone would already be dead. The other players would have already taken out every other NPC. I could barely get any kills. So you do feel it when you're in a group. However, in my opinion, the players who are going to feel it the most are the ones who play PvP, whether that's Conflict or Dark Zone. Now, I've said this before at the channel, I normally do not jump into those game modes, so if you happen to use that as one of your primary ways to play this game, please let me know how when a meta build is introduced to the game, how it affects your gameplay, how long do they stick around. I know in PvE things shift non-stop, but a PvP, I'm assuming it's going to be something that may stick around a little longer. So again, if you have concerns for this bag, please let me know. With all that being said, my friends, I'm going to start to wrap this up. Now, there are other topics I want to go over, such as quality of life improvements when they drop Season 11. They haven't given us any specifics as yet. Obviously, we want to see improvements for PC players, crashing issues, things like that. But I do not want to speculate on anything whatsoever, so once they give us some information, I will definitely pass it along. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. On that note, I'm going to let the rest of the video play out. However, like I mentioned at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor, hit that like button really quick. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.